Nowadays, people can't stop talking about AI systems and how they've infiltrated our daily lives. And so we talk so much about AI out there, but what exactly is artificial intelligence? Hey, engineering enthusiasts, today we're going to talk about a topic that's everywhere, that you probably use every day, but that many people don't really understand what it is. We're talking about artificial intelligence, or IA in Portuguese, or AI in English, which stands for artificial intelligence. But have you ever stopped to think about how many times a day you interact with an artificial intelligence system? It could be when you're searching for something on Google, when your phone recognizes your face to unlock it, or even when you get a video recommendation here on YouTube. But after all, what really is artificial intelligence? Well, artificial intelligence is a broad field of technology that refers to the use of machines and computers capable of imitating cognitive functions associated with human intelligence. This means that we are trying to create machines that can see, understand, respond to spoken or written language, analyze data, make recommendations, and much more, just like a human would. But how is that possible? Can a machine think like a human? We have to say that's not exactly how it works. Artificial intelligence doesn't think the same way we do, but it can perform tasks that would normally require human intelligence to be carried out. To better understand how this works, we need to understand that artificial intelligence works through algorithms. An algorithm is basically a set of rules and instructions that you give to the machine. These rules tell the machine exactly what to do in each situation. There are two main types of artificial intelligence algorithms. The first uses logic based on the rational principles of human thought, where you program the machine with specific rules and it follows those rules strictly. The second type is more sophisticated and combines logic with what we call deep learning, which uses the pattern of how human brains work to make the machine learn on its own. But what's the difference between these two types? Well, in the first type, you have to manually program each rule. For example, if you want a machine to recognize a cat in a photo, you would have to program rules like, if the image has triangular ears, then it's a cat. But that's very limited, because not all cats have the same ears, and not everything with triangular ears is a cat. That's where machine learning comes in. In machine learning, you don't program the rules manually. Instead, you give the machine lots of examples of cats and non-cats. And the machine learns on its own to recognize patterns that differentiate a cat from other things. That's much more powerful and flexible. Now you might be wondering, how can a machine learn on its own? Well, imagine you're teaching a child to recognize different types of fruit. You show them a red apple and say, this is an apple. Then you show a green apple and say, this is also an apple. Then you show a banana and say, this is not an apple, it's a banana. After seeing many examples, the child is able to recognize an apple even if they've never seen that specific apple before. Either the child recognizes the item because they've seen it before, or they use process of elimination. The machine works in a similar way. You provide many examples and the machine identifies the common patterns among those examples. The more examples you provide, the better the machine gets at recognizing those patterns. But the machine can't distinguish an image or text the way we can think. Instead, it uses mathematical processing, turning data into numbers. And from there, it uses statistical models to adjust for errors and predict results. But where exactly is artificial intelligence being used in our daily lives? Well, nowadays, it's in practically everything. When you use Google to search for something, the search engine used to just scan all the websites listed on the web about that specific subject. But now, it uses artificial intelligence to process your question in natural language and find the most relevant results for you. It ends up generating an answer by scanning all the websites, understanding what you're looking for, and statistically compiling the most likely results for your answer. When you're on your smartphone and use a virtual assistant like Google Assistant or Siri, you're interacting with an artificial intelligence system that can understand what you're saying and respond appropriately. When you're on a social network and see friend recommendations or personalized content, that's also artificial intelligence, analyzing your behavior patterns and suggesting things you're likely to enjoy. But artificial intelligence goes far beyond that. Today, it is being used in hospitals to help doctors diagnose diseases by analyzing medical images. It is being used in self-driving cars to recognize traffic signs, pedestrians, and other vehicles. It is being used in factories to control robots that perform repetitive tasks with precision. It is being used in banks to detect fraud by analyzing transaction patterns. In practically any modern industry you can think of, artificial intelligence is being applied in some way. Now, it's important to understand that not all artificial intelligence is the same. There is what we call weak AI, which is the kind that can perform a specific task very well but can't do anything else. For example, a facial recognition system is very good at recognizing faces, but it can't drive a car. Then there is general artificial intelligence, which would be a machine capable of performing any intellectual task that a human can do. That is still more science fiction than reality, but it's the ultimate goal that many researchers are pursuing. But then the real central question is artificial intelligence really intelligent? And here I have to say, no, it's not as intelligent as we think, not in the way you might imagine. It's still not a conscious system like Skynet, where it becomes self-aware on August 29, 1997, for those who got the reference. Most artificial intelligences nowadays are what we call narrow intelligences. That's because they're good at doing certain specific tasks, like compiling an article or generating an image. But everything it does is nothing more than grand statistical processing, incredibly advanced, which is based on a large volume of data. In other words, it simulates results at a much faster speed than humans. But it can't understand the information it's giving you. There's an interesting meme on the internet that I'll put on the screen, where it shows someone asking if a mushroom is edible. And IA, based on the database it had, says yes, because according to the database it has, it didn't see any problem with eating that item. And right after, it shows the person who has already died, and EA responding that the mushroom was actually poisonous, and asking if they would like to know more about poisonous mushrooms. In the end, the difference between the machine and the human being is not always having the answer to everything, but rather our ability to doubt, question, and be curious. I really like the argument of the Brazilian neuroscientist called Miguel Nicoleles, who was a pioneer in the study of the brain-machine interface, whom I had the pleasure of meeting when I went to the Flow podcast, where he says that AI is neither intelligent nor artificial, defining it as multivariate statistics and not a substitute for the human mind. If you've made it this far and enjoyed the video, take the opportunity to subscribe if you haven't already, leave your like, and activate the notification bell. And if you find our content interesting, consider becoming a member to help us keep producing content here on the platform and be remembered in our videos. If you've made it this far, I invite you to take a look at the courses we recommend. So point your phone at the QR code here on the screen or click the link in the description about our courses. And have you ever stopped to think about how many times a day you interact with artificial intelligence? Have you ever imagined what your life would be like without it? Do you think AIs are really intelligent? Leave your thoughts in the comments, I want to know. On the side, there are 2 interesting videos you should watch to expand your knowledge and curiosity. Do you want to contribute with us? Like, subscribe, turn on notifications, and consider joining as a channel member. That's it, engineering fans. Big hug and see you in the next video.